Good morning, class 8 students. Today we will start chapter number 8 from communalism to the partition. Now, you know that in 1857 the Sepoy mutiny took place, and that in that period of time both the Hindus and the Muslims, they protested against the Britishers unitedly. Yes, at that period of time, Hindustan, it comprised of what? It meant North and Central India. But only 90 years after the revolt of 1857, the partition of the partition line, it passed over Punjab. Yes, and this this partition line, it passed over the Punjab province of Hindustan, and we know that India was partitioned. It took place after 90 years of the revolt of 1857. Now, there was at that period of time also, that is towards the end of the 19th century also, there was no specific Muslim community on the Indian subcontinent. Half of the total population of Bengal and Punjab were Muslims, and in different parts of India the Muslim used to live. There was not any particular part where the Muslim, they lived in different parts of India. Gradually, what happened? The colonial government wiped out these varied elements among the Muslims, and it started identifying the Muslims as a religious community. And a part of the Muslim population, they started considering themselves as a religious community separate from the Hindus. From 1872, the colonial government, while conducting census, had assumed that the individuals' racial and religious identity, individual racial and religious identity was most important. Through the census, the assessment was made of each community on the basis of religion. Through the census, the assessment, how many people belong to which community, on the basis of religion, it was made. Thus, the colonial government, in the colonial government, the communal and racial identities gained predominance. The communal and racial identities, they gained predominance in colonial India. What happened then? Then a competition began among the community to gain the benefits, and thus conflict started, and this evolved into a social political problem through the rise of communal politics. Now, apparently the British government practiced secularism. It was the norm not to attach importance to religious identity. However, during the handling of benefits, what was given more emphasis, was given on the religious identity. the communal policy of the government was clear, and this policy became apparent in the context of English language. In 1837, English replaced Persian language as the official language, and you know that period of time the Muslims were not so educated in English compared to the Hindus, and for this they couldn't get any good government jobs and other benefits. This led the Muslims to imagine at the end of the 19th century that they were deprived in comparison to the Hindus. This in turn led to the rise of the idea that the Hindus and the Muslims were opposed to each other, because at that period of time the Hindus were getting good jobs and other benefits from the Britishers, whereas the Muslims, they were neglected. And it must be mentioned that what was propagated in the name of the Muslim interest was actually the interest of the educated Muslims. The uneducated and the poor Muslims were not considered. This was the scenario, and in this period of time the modernization of Muslim society began with whom? With Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, and he founded the Aligarh. He is the founder of the Aligarh University, and the Aligarh movement was started. He wanted to promote liberalism in Muslim society by what? By mingling, by mixing the Islamic theology with Western scientific knowledge, so that the condition of the Muslims could improve. And Sir Syed Ahmad was against creating communal disharmony between the two communities. He wanted the aristocratic and the educated Muslims to be self-reliant, and he wanted to create a communal feeling among the Muslim students. At Aligarh, in his education institution, which was known as Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College, Western philosophy coexisted happily with Islamic theology in the curriculum, which was the curriculum of the Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College. This Islamic theology and the Western philosophy, it coexisted in the curriculum. But you know that Sir Syed Ahmad, he was not an anti-national person, but as to the concept of a race, he had a difference of opinion from the Congress. He considered the Congress to be the representative organization of the Hindu majority. This was in his mind, and so he instructed the Muslims not to join the Congress. But everyone was not in favor of Sir Syed Ahmad's leadership. For example, Badruddin Tyabji, he joined the Congress. Moreover, the ulemas, they disliked Sir Syed Ahmad's idea of westernization. They feared that they would lose their authority Important among them was the conservative anti-colonial personality like Jamaluddin al-Afghani. And when Sir Syed Ahmad died in 1898, at that period of time, the Aligarh was soon losing its importance as a center of Muslim politics. Yes, the leadership which was provided by Sir Syed Ahmad, it was gradually declining in Aligarh, and at that period of time the youths of Aligarh were also not so organized, and in the beginning of the 20th century, young leaders like Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali were deeply influenced by the ulemas, and Islamic ideals gained predominance over the Muslim politics in India. The argument that the Muslims were economically, socially and politically backward compared to whom? Compared to the Hindus, and the Hindus were becoming more stronger economically, socially and politically. And to correct this social imbalance, the formation of a new political organization against both the Hindus was and the Muslims became very much necessary.
Subscribe. Click on the bell. Like, comment, share.